slipping away from her.
No, he's in the other room,
fatal
actually.
Drowning.
Okay.
Hey, it's funny, if you're watching on Facebook.
The wife of an Ohio Supreme Court
We
justice
have his
has
statue
filed
standing
for
where he
divorce.
normally
Rhonda
is.
DeWine says her husband is, quote, guilty of adultery, extreme cruelty, and gross neglect of duty.
I need to look
State
at that.
Supreme Court
Hey,
Justice
I wonder if
Pat
we can get his lips
DeWine
to
moved
move.
out of the couple's Cincinnati area home in February 2018. His soon-to-be ex-wife is seeking $5,000 per month in alimony, provided he continues to pay the bills he has paid since moving out.
I said his name, I
Rhonda
don't
claims
know
she
if
has no money since she filed
He was probably
bankruptcy
waiting to
soon
write it
after she
04.
married Pat. The two were married back in December 2010. Pat has 3 children
What
from
a
a prior
good
marriage, and
person.
Rhonda has 2. Pat is the
So
son
why
of
is he
current
in
Ohio
jail?
Yeah,
Governor
hey,
Rhonda
John.
DeWine.
John is
I'm
actually
Sean
clicking
Gallagher.
in now.
And new reports
Okay.
say not enough
So-
people in Dayton are
has
signing
a house
up
up
for
there
the
that-
FEMA
I know, that's what he
aid
said, just
after
buying
the
a house.
Memorial
They
Day tornadoes.
visited
The
for a
Miami
long
Valley
time up
Community
there
Action
and
Partnership
finally bought a
says
place.
thousands of dollars are unclaimed,
Makes
and people in
sense.
multi-unit
All right, you should see him
apartments
pop
aren't
up.
signing up for it. Only 23% of renters affected by the twisters have applied for aid. Those who need it can still apply
Here's
through
something.
September 3rd. I'm Kyle Cornell.
Filling your news feed with the top trending news.
Like that, you're off.
Top and bottom of the hour. Columbus's news is on News Radio 610 WTBN.
It's easier to change the world than you think. Sponsor a child in extreme poverty with Compassion International, and you will change the world for that child. Just text the word child to 83393 to sponsor right now.
How would you
my
like to
hand.
make an extra $1,200 to $7,800 monthly safely investing
Eric, where
in
is
real
he
estate
then?
tax lien
You
certificates?
get 'em?
Hi, I'm Sean Higgins,
I can hear
co-founder
'em.
of USTLA.
It's not
And for
like
over
as clear
20
as yours,
years,
but
I've
I
been
mean, it
investing in
works.
tax lien certificates,
Okay.
making
It's better than a
16 to
phone, that's for
25%
sure.
Okay.
secured
Maybe, do you
fixed
think
returns,
if he
while
puts his mouth
acquiring
closer to the
highly
mic or something?
discounted
Or?
properties more. Now, I will show
Right.
you how in my
Can
new
he hear us?
50-page revealing report called Proof, why tax lien certificates are the superior vehicle for your financial success. In my report, you'll
You can
learn
put the
where to
headsets on
find
today,
tax
Pablo?
lien certificates, how to safely earn 16 to 25%
I don't
secured
think he can
fixed
hear you until
returns,
we go
and
live,
how to
Eric.
acquire
Okay.
valuable real
So
estate
we'll
at
try
huge
it
discounts, mortgage-free.
and go
Now,
from
for a
there.
limited time,
Okay.
I'll give anyone
how
that
long is he
calls
gonna
a
be on?
free copy of this
For the
powerful
first half
new
an hour,
report.
and then he's
Okay.
just going to jump to his his normal.
Okay.
853 now
I
to get
figured. I
Sean's
just
free
wanna make
report.
sure.
Call
Yep.
800-913-0853 in the next 30 minutes, and Sean will give you 2 free tickets to his live training coming to the Columbus area. A $300 value. Call
yeah, we're good.
800-913-0853 for your free report
I'm
now.
just apparently
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Good afternoon. Welcome to On Target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility. That's located at 999 Bethel Road. I'm your host, Eric, along with my father, Phil. You know, should I say we're broadcasting from the parking lot because it is absolutely beautiful out there. You gonna talk, Papa? Or?
Well, I was looking. I've got a lot of background noise. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, a little.
I was distracted, but I was looking outside, and it is nice.
It is nice out there. Yes, I mean, I tell you what, it was nice last night. I spent some time. Actually, I spent some time at the zoo last night.
You were with the animals again, weren't you?
I was with the animals. No, I was actually with a band, Sugar Ray. You know who they are, Papa?
No.
Okay, yeah, I was with them. It was great, an absolute wonderful event. And speaking of great events, earlier this week we had the Capital City Cigar Club that had an event here. Gorgeous night, great group of guys, and I think we're going to turn that into an annual event as well. So,
all right,
definitely something to see there. Well, we are the owners of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility and are active law enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training tips, and oftentimes political topics surrounding the Second Amendment. Our commitment, though, has always been to bring you a fact about the industry and ultimately help our customers and our listeners with safe, responsible ownership of firearms. Today on the show, we welcome back our good friend, local attorney who specializes in everything firearms related. I think he might even own a couple. Derek DeBrosse is here with us. It's always good to have you here.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, it is.
I like seeing your face.
I know. You know, me as well, and I like seeing my face. And
we missed you at the machine gun shoot this past weekend.
I know it.
We had a 1919 there.
Really?
My good friend from Tusker Arms brought out about 30 machine guns.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's always good, and this is long overdue. I mean, we get questions all the time here in the store and on air about firearms laws, and there's so much that's changing.
Yeah.
You know, we offer as part of our CCW the first 2 hours as a refresher. So if somebody, obtained their FF or their CCW years ago and they want to get brought up to speed on the current laws, they can sit in for the first couple hours and hear the latest laws, because it's important. Things have changed. And when you look back to when it started versus now, I mean, it's completely
most of the important stuff has changed.
It has. It has. So, and you've been involved in a lot of cases, too, for support of the firearms owners and stuff. So at 12:30, we are going to take the calls and talk to Derek about some of the ways to keep yourself safe and legal. And somehow, I don't know how this happened, somehow you managed to be the guest gun of the week.
You asked me.
I was just hoping that it wasn't going to be like a Glock 19 or,
it wasn't.
And actually you kind of came to the table here because, don't say it what it is.
I won't say what it is.
Now, if you're on Facebook, you can see it sitting right there in front of Pawpaw. And, but it is, it's, I'm glad you're doing it because we hadn't done this yet. And there was, we sold quite a few.
It's a hot item.
It is a hot item.
Is that a pistol? Is that a pistol?
That one is a pistol, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So do we have holsters for those?
You could. You could.
Make
So
a Kydex holster for it.
Yep. So we are going to get to Derek's Gun of the Week here shortly. And before that, JC's going to get you updated on the fake news of the week. Actually, this week it hasn't been all that bad, but there is definitely some news, JC, that is worth mentioning.
Absolutely.
So, and that's going to be coming up here shortly. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Rampart Hosting, Toyota West, Jackson Lawn Care and Egress Windows, The Trigger Group, Blackwing Shooting Center, River's Edge Cutlery, CNS Engraving, and, of course, LEPD Training Facility, who all make the show possible week to week. Joining me today in the LEPD studios is JC. JC, I have one word for you, and I'll let you expound upon it. Jim Carmichael.
Wow, what a legend in the firearms industry. He was the editor of the Outdoor magazine for 40 years or more, and he was a master gunsmith on the side. Written many books, and we happen to have his personal rifle that he built for himself. It is just a masterwork based on a 1909 Mauser, which some say is the elite and the smoothest of the Mauser actions. And it's in he thought the all-round caliber for everything from big grizzly bear, polar bear, all the way down. And that is the .338 Winchester Magnum. It has provenance of him being not only owning it, who he is, but he built this thing. And he'd been building guns since he was in his teens. And it's just a masterpiece gun, and it is just a kind of a once in a lifetime for those who would be considering purchasing this rifle. It's magnificent.
Eric, now you got him started. He is going to spew now for the whole hour about this.
You know what? The funny thing is John and I had talked about this that came on the estate. This estate is just actually 2 or 3 that we got in within the last 10 days is just wonderful. And this one, I had mentioned it to him, and he's like, oh, yeah, that guy, Jim Carmichael, he was a writer for Outdoor Magazine and so forth. And then today I showed him the description of the firearm, and now he's been talking about it ever since.
Yeah.
It's an incredible work of art.
Yep, and that is here, and it is for sale actually starting this afternoon. So if you want to stop by and see it, that and a lot of other really, really neat firearms. Some of them are just, your normal firearms that are new in the box. Some are ones that are truly one of a kind. My father and co-owner Phil sits to my left. Paul.
No, you understand. About a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I swore off of buying any more firearms. But you get all these estate sales in here. And you kind of torture me. You say, hey, Dad, look at this. Look at this. And no, I'm not going to do it unless you buy it for me.
Well, it's funny because let me go to the script here. It says,
what?
Yeah, even though you've sworn off of buying firearms, the Amazon truck has been here every other day for you.
Something's got to fill the gap. Okay.
What tools are you buying?
Hey, look, if you want me to do maintenance around the store, I have to have tools.
I mean, it's really, ever since we showed you Amazon,
we got to change that anyways. I don't want my purchases coming across your email screen.
Yeah, I don't want that either.
Okay.
Our guest sits to my left. You know what? Derek, something you told me something today I didn't even know about you. You're actually a professor as well. I mean, now I feel
I'm
like
an adjunct professor.
I mean, I feel bad some of the things I called you, where I should be calling you professor. Or
that's right. I'll accept you calling me professor from now on.
Okay.
In fact, I demand it.
All right.
Demand it? Okay.
Derek's just our left from Munitions Law Group, and he just really phenomenal, everything firearm related. If you missed the show, you can always catch the podcast. That's what I do every week. I don't think anyone sitting around the table has listened to it yet. JC, have you ever listened to the podcast?
No.
It's only been, 254 episodes?
I don't even know how to get to it, Eric.
How do you not know? Because every week right here, I say, if you need to go catch the podcast, it's on iTunes, it's on Google Podcasts.
I don't know how to get to any of that stuff.
But you know where Amazon is.
Well, it's in my shop. That's what it's, the computer, the Amazon, my tools. That's where things happen.
All right. Well, it is out there. And if you have a question for us, OnTarget@lepd.com is a great place to send us an email. If you have a question about a topic you want us to cover, or if it's a gun of the week, we're always open. John actually has one coming up in a couple weeks that came from a customer. And JC, have you given that firearm back, or is that something you've just?
Just today, he came in and they had to pry it out of my hands. But we had a great discussion on the history of it, and I can hardly wait to cover that in the future here.
But by the way, JC, you look good today. You're looking good.
Oh, well, thank you. So I love your beard. You guys, I tell people you have the best Auburn beard I've ever seen.
John, you look a little two-dimensional, though, today for some reason. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so.
So, guys, before we get to the news of the day, I want to give a shout-out. We don't talk about him very much, and actually we're going to get him to pop on the show sometime, but our Facebook page is really kept up to speed with articles that are going on that not only affect firearms owners, but just good information with law enforcement and just kind of what's going on out there in society. And our good buddy Neil, he's darn near a part of the family, he started something on our site that I think is a nationwide thing that is out there, and it's called Red Fridays. Have you heard of this, Paul?
Not until I read your
have you heard of that, Derek, at all?
No, I have not.
JC, have you heard of the Red Fridays?
Yesterday.
I'm sorry?
Just yesterday.
Yeah. So
talking about yesterday.
That stands for Remember Everyone Deployed. And so what we started to do on Fridays is Neil will go out there and he will pick somebody, most of the time locally, that we know, or it's a family member that is deployed. And actually, we have 2 employees that are deployed right now. And they'll give a little description of it. Unfortunately, a couple weeks ago, it was a local soldier who was killed in action recently. So watch for that out there on Fridays. If you have a family member or a good friend that you want us to do a little story on, shoot us an email on OnTarget@lepd.com. It's a great thing, and Neil does a wonderful job of keeping this in the forefront, because so often we get tied up in our daily lives, and you tend to forget that when it's not at the top of the news and so forth. JC, what do you have for us?
There's so much news out there, but it's not a boy, it's not a girl, but it is a giant birth. So, in last year, over 2 million 9mm pistols were born, according to the ATF. So, in 2018, they released the number of firearms manufactured. That's the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. They put out an interim report. They do it once a year. Last year, in the United States, 8,669,000 plus firearms were manufactured, and of those, over 2 million were 9mm pistols. So it cemented itself as obviously the number one firearm out there. So the numbers have been increasing and increasing. But get this, Eric, since 2014, the United States has manufactured over 39,750,000 firearms. Is that incredible? Just since 2014.
Just in the last 5 years.
Right, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. They delay a year because of the Trade Secrets Act about exactly who's manufacturing what, but they gave an interim report about the numbers in 2018. So I just find that incredible.
So JC, so that is, I mean, I just heard on the news last week that Americans want firearms to go away, but if they're making, that many in a 5-year period, it sure seems to be that people are buying them.
They wouldn't be making them if people weren't buying them. And this is up, the number of 9mm In 2017, they made a little over 1.75 million 9mm, and this year it's closer to 2.25 million 9mm alone. So
wow,
that's phenomenal.
JC, we have about a minute left.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Okay, just a real quick. School's back in session. I just want you to know we know about this FASTER program for faculty and administrators in schools, having trained armed staff in schools. It's a wonderful program. Tuscarawas County, by the way, just added another school. I just want to let you know that the Garaway, Newcomerstown, Indian Valley, Tusky Valley, and Tuscarawas County all are going to have trained armed folks in their school. And when I say folks, all administrators and staff, they have to go through weeks of training and requalify every year. And it's going to, according to the sheriff, help prevent any shootings as well as improve response time. So school's in session, and it's unfortunate we have to have this, but this program is out there. Over 3,000 school staff from over 260 districts have been trained so far, and 90% of them are from Ohio. So
wow.
Hats off to that program.
That's great, JC. That's your old neck of the woods, I think, right?
Yeah, that's why I caught that. Those are schools we played when I was in high school. So, yeah, that's just one county, but I think they're all on the right track. So,
great.
Anyway.
Great. Well, when we come back from the break, we're going to get to Derek's Gun of the Week. It's a neat one. It's actually one that I don't have yet, but I would consider. Do you have one yet, Derek?
Got 2 of them.
Yeah. We're on target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break.
The Mark Blazer Show, Monday at 3.
Hope you're enjoying this incredible C-Bus weekend weather. Can't believe we're kicking off another Buckeye season in just a week. OH! On Monday at 3:45, with school beginning, it's most likely time to get your kids' good credit habits started. Smart information on the best credit cards out there from Bankrate.com. Talk to you Monday at 3, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Have you looked for your dream Hyundai recently? Been overwrought by inventory, haggling for price, and kept around waiting? You should feel what it's like to drive for better with Dennis Hyundai. Your color, your upgrades, and your financing options, all with Hyundai Assurance, America's best warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Experience the future of car buying at DennisHyundai.com or check out the redesigned 2019 Santa Fe at Dennis Hyundai on Morse Road and in Dublin. Dennis Hyundai, driving for better.
Gets to be this time of year, it's nice to have a little peace and quiet in the cool. Am I right? Well, with Pella Windows, you can get all those boxes checked. I mean, we all know things heat up in the summer, and inefficient windows let that heat right in, but Pella
got a little bit better there.
And when the kids are outside playing and you just want to calm for a moment, the noise stays outside too, thanks to Pella.
Oh,
they're
heck
energy
yeah.
efficient, they're sound efficient,
Oh,
and
heck
they're
yeah.
beautiful.
What's
Call
tempting?
877-98-PELLA or online at
Yep.
PellaColumbus.com.
I think it's going to be good
Win your way to our
with JC.
2019 iHeartRadio Music Festival and $1,000 to spend while you're in Vegas. More than 30 of the biggest music superstars handpicked by iHeartRadio. 2 nights.
That's right.
Arena here in Las Vegas.
Plus the daytime stage. See Tim McGraw, Backstreet Boys, Alicia Keys, Hootie and the Blowfish, and many, many more. Hosted by Ryan Seacrest. Listen for your next chance to text and win access to our iHeartRadio Music Festival. Plus $1,000 spending cash.
Here at ABC6 First, warning weather for today. Lots of sunshine, dry and pleasant. It is a high of 79. You need to get outside after you come to the store, of course, but it is gorgeous out there. Tonight, chilly and clear, low of 58. Good night to open up your windows. For Sunday, mostly cloudy and a bit warmer, high of 82, but still beautiful. It's currently 74 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
Ohio's talk giant. News Radio 610 WTVN.
I get knocked down.
Derek, this is what the people pay for.
Yeah.
This is what they pay for.
Every time I hear that, Eric, I think about this YouTube video where these Marines are storming the beach and they jump off of their landing boat and get into waist-high mud and they're stuck.
I think I saw that.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a line of people next Saturday getting his autograph here.
It happens during the week, Derek.
Yeah,
that's what he
but
says.
I want to line out the door. I want to
All
see
right.
a wrapper on the door.
All right.
You guys could charge for it.
They tune into Facebook just to see this, and I didn't mention it earlier, but if you want to get a peek of what the show looks like, Facebook's a great place. You can see the gun of the week ahead of time. You can see what goes on during the commercials. Sometimes you can see stuff that you can't unsee, and but it's right there on Facebook and on YouTube afterwards. So welcome back to On Target. My father Phil sits to my left. Our good friend Derek DeBrosse is sitting to my immediate left from Munitions Law Group. JC is in the house as well. And you there, JC?
I am here
in
the house as well.
In the house.
So, Derek, at this time of the week, we always go around and we rotate a gun of the week, something that maybe you're passionate about, maybe it's something from your collection, or maybe it's just some new item out there. And so today, being the guest today, we've bestowed upon you the gun of the week. And actually, you kind of came to the table here. I'm a little bit impressed,
Well,
you know?
It meets all three categories that you just mentioned.
Right.
It's in my collection. It's something new and unique. And it's just something kind of, I wouldn't call it quirky. But anyways, I took a class on a Tactical Defense Institute. They're good friends of mine. And I recommend them to everybody who needs some higher-end training down in Southern Ohio. But we took a pistol caliber carbine class, and I had brought a certain firearm I won't mention, and it kept jamming. But a lot of my colleagues down there had these CZ Scorpions, and they ran flawlessly. I was really impressed. So impressed, in fact, I came back and bought a CZ Micro and as well as a full-length one. So I have technically two of them, but they're 9mm pistol caliber carbines. They're great guns. If I can get the thing open.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, there it goes.
Yep. All right.
But it's just 9mm. I believe it does take proprietary mags, if I remember correctly, but they're very inexpensive.
Right. And Derek, now, can you, with this being the pistol, with all this arm brace stuff, there is a stock that you can actually get for that, right? Or an arm brace?
Yeah, they do sell them with arm braces, which makes it still a pistol, obviously. Unless President Trump has his way and changes that, like he did with bump stocks. So we'll see what happens.
Is that a chance?
There hasn't been any talk about it, but it happened with bump stocks, so who knows what happened with the pistol brace. But, yeah, you can buy them as pistols so that you can basically get a de facto SBR, although you're using it as a pistol. But then they have the full-length ones as well.
What kind of barrel lengths are we talking?
Kind of what
kind of barrel lengths on these?
They have a variety of barrel lengths. The Micro, I'm not exactly sure how short it is, but they have all the way to full-length carbines.
Wow.
Now, this is the Micro?
That is just a pistol with a shorter barrel. That is not the Micro.
Okay.
We've had the Micro as well, and it's small. I mean, it's compact.
Small. It's got a faux suppressor on the end of it.
Right.
Yeah, and it's really, really compact.
Right. JC, what do you think of it? Do you have one yet?
No, I do not have one. I wish I had three, but they run flawlessly. There have been several European police departments that have switched over to that as their full auto or semi-auto weapon of choice for SWAT teams over there. So that says enough.
They go and go. You know, Popo, I remember, I mean, CZs have really come of age.
Yes.
And I remember back in the 80s, I remember on your Christmas list a duty gun.
Yes.
And you gave 2 or 3, and of course there's Smith & Wesson was up there, and there was something else. But then also you had a CZ. I mean, that was back in the 80s.
That was back in the 80s, and they weren't as popular as they are now.
Like the 75?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah. And back then I was a reserve officer. We had to buy our own firearms, and that was a consideration. That was. I think the price was lower. I mean, that was maybe
they make
part
a
of
great gun.
Yeah.
Their handguns are phenomenal.
Phenomenal. I mean, we carry now. They do. And JC, what's the number here? How many new guns did they come out with last year?
80. Well, including rifles and shotguns, they had 87 new ones were introduced at the SHOT Show in January.
Yeah,
87.
So I mean, we carry 24 different models of the CZ pistol. And I believe they're all 9s. I mean, it just shows you that they have a wide variety.
I had heard once, I don't know how true it is, because I didn't research it, that they have they actually distribute the most handguns for law enforcement agencies around the world.
Really?
I don't know
so
if that's true, but I
outside
heard
the
that.
U.S., it's probably quite a bit.
Europeans mostly carry CZ, from what I've been told. So.
Right. You know, we've had a couple local departments who have seriously considered them. It's just it's being that first department per se to go and jump to a CZ and not sure about the customer service and holsters and everything else to go with it. But from a reliability standpoint,
phenomenal. Customer service is good. Their handguns are interesting. That slide actually kind of sits into the frame a little bit more. It's a little bit more low profile. I think it's really interesting.
JC, do you own any CZs?
I do, and they are. I think they're one of the finest handguns. They also make fine rifles. I have a friend who has an Anschutz rifle in .22. He paid a ton for. His CZ outshoots it no matter who shoots it. I've been with 3 people, and they're little cheap, less expensive CZ. It was just incredible how accurate these things were. So excellent company, excellent. Great guns.
Pretty good gun of the week there, Derek.
Yeah,
I'll tell
should have
you.
me on more often.
I know, seriously.
I just replaced JC.
Well, you could.
Yeah, there you go.
Unfortunately, we're going to take about 3 people if he ever leaves to replace him. The amount of information, JC, the amount of information floating around in your brain, I tell you.
It floats.
Well, actually, may as well go to break to give you a little more time on the other end.
Okay.
So when we come back from the bottom of the hour news, we're going to talk to Derek DeBrosse from Munitions Law Group. We're going to talk about gun laws, CCW laws, and everything you really wanted to know. If you want to jump in on the conversation, this is the time to do it. 614-821-WTVN is the number, and we'll be right back after the break.
Hey, it's Matt McCoy, and boy, have our air conditioners been cranking this summer, and that's even more costly when you've got old leaky windows. Take care of that now by calling my guys at Universal Windows Direct. The windows are the most energy efficient on the market, featuring Unishield high-performance glass and NASA-developed super spacer technology. And you know the deal. Buy one window, get the next free with no limits, 0% financing for 36 months, plus a true lifetime warranty. The number to call, 614-221-0700, or go online at universalwindowsdirect.com. Universal Windows Direct. I love my windows.
Right now at Germain Lexus, we're hosting the Golden Opportunity Sales Event, and the incentives are fantastic. Enjoy low lease payments and financing rates as low as 0%. To get started, go to GermainLexus.com. Financing on a limited term with approved credit ends 9/3/19.
Tickets Galore has great seats available for all top events. Ohio State football, home and away games, any NFL game, and concerts. Tickets Galore is the best source for the best seats. Call 614-889-2989
JC's going to disconnect now.
or log on to usaseats.com.
News, traffic, and weather for Columbus. News Radio 610. WTVN.
Ohio Supreme Court Justice Pat DeWine's wife is accused of adultery and extreme cruelty in a divorce filing Friday. Rhonda DeWine declined further comment on the filing when reached by the Cincinnati Enquirer. Pat DeWine is the son of current Governor Mike DeWine. The Lucas County Health Department has ordered Milo's Meat Market in Toledo to stop operating as it loses its license. It cannot reopen until issues outlined by the health department are fixed. Some of those include the store not having enough sinks, not cleaning utensils, and having surfaces that are impossible to clean. The facility and equipment also constitute a public health hazard. Chase Dobbs, a former mailroom employee at the Madison County Correctional Institution, pleaded not guilty to aggravated menacing charges Friday. Dobbs did admit that he wanted to shoot specific corrections officers, and 2 loaded pistols were found in his vehicle. His bond was set at $25,000. He will be back in court September 16th. I'm Sean Gallagher.
There's a lot of people that focus on the economy every day, whether it's your personal economy, you're investing, you're looking at the macro economy of the globe. But hey, let's just talk about it from a practical perspective. You want to diversify. A lot of people will check out gold and silver. And if you're thinking about gold and silver, maybe need a little information about adding that, why don't you stop by Allen's Coin Shop? Allen's Coin Shop is flush. I mean, they've got great inventory and can talk you through. If you want to buy silver because it's less expensive than gold, you can buy it in U.S. Mint products, or you can just buy it in ounce, 5 ounce, 10 ounce, up to 100 ounce bars. Stash it away, and if you want a tangible asset, or if the price goes way up and you just want to cash out, it's easy to do at Allen's. Gold the same way. I mean, recently, gold topped $1,400 an ounce. That means there's a lot of people buying and a lot of people selling, which means the inventory is always gettable. And while you're there, poke around. It's a collector's paradise, I promise. State Street in Westerville or online at allensinc.com. Allen's Coin Shop, serving collectors since 1960.
Luby Hearing Services. You'll hear what you've been missing.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios. My father, co-owner Phil, he sits to my left. My good friend from Munitions Law Group, Derek DeBrosse, sits immediately to my left. And JC is, look, Papa, look at that.
There he is, two-dimensional.
And JC is to my right. Are you there, JC? There you are.
I'm here. I'm here in body and spirit.
You're looking better.
We are laughing, and if you were watching the Facebook live feed, you would see why. So we'll leave it at that, JC.
All right.
So, guys, from time to time, we like to have our good friend Derek on with us. And just to answer some questions, I mean, he lives in the firearms world and the laws and all the legalities in and around that. And when you think about it, it can be truly complicated, from CCW to transporting firearms to how you defend yourself in your home versus in your car. And now with the considerations with stand your ground being tossed around and marijuana laws, we thought it would be a good time to have Derek on to help clarify. And certainly giving us a call and asking questions is what we're here for. 614-821-WTVN or 9886 is the number. So, Derek, I'm going to hit it right off. Actually, right before we go to the first call, I'm going to ask you, because we're getting this a lot. Medical marijuana now is legal in Ohio. And by some regards, even minor possession of marijuana has become somewhat, I don't know if it's legal or just not being prosecuted in Ohio. If you have a medical marijuana card, can you go buy a firearm?
Well, first off, in Ohio, we don't have medical marijuana cards. We have medical referrals is what they call them, I believe.
Okay.
They can't do prescriptions because of federal law. Marijuana is still legal at the federal level. And the Ninth Circuit has addressed this in a circuit decision that if you are using marijuana, if you're just using it, just in a vacuum, it doesn't matter if you have a referral or not from medicinal, you cannot possess guns. In fact, you're what we call a legally disabled person. So the way the government proves that, though, is through a variety of different types of evidence. If there's a criminal conviction on your record for marijuana possession, they can use that against you. If you have a marijuana card from a state like California or a referral from a state like Ohio, they could theoretically use that against you. It doesn't prove that you're actually using the drug, though, but it does add credence to the theory that you're an unlawful user of a controlled substance and thereby not allowed to have firearms. So regardless of what state law says, right now it's illegal federally, and it does impact your gun rights on the federal level.
So, and that's not just, it's my understanding, it's not just firearms, it's ammunition.
It's ammunition and firearms. Body armor has come up recently. That, from my recollection, is only you're only disqualified from body armor if you're a violent felon right now at the federal level. So just some things to keep in mind. But, yeah, ammunition and or firearms. What gets interesting, though, the federal government only has jurisdiction over firearms that travel or affect interstate commerce. So the theory goes that if you buy a high point that's made in Ohio, never left the state of Ohio, you're not violating federal law because federal law can't attach itself to something that is not touched interstate commerce. That's how they get jurisdiction over it.
Well, and as one of our listeners just chimed in, I mean, it's also you're not able to possess it if you're a user of any illicit drugs or
controlled substance. Yeah.
Right, controlled substance. So so is there a chance? And I'm just throwing this out there. If there is a list in Ohio that you've been approved for medical marijuana or however it is there a chance that it's going to get into NICS?
Not to my knowledge, and I'm not an expert on the medicinal marijuana law in Ohio. I don't know if it's confidential or not. I would imagine it's HIPAA protected. I don't think that that's a possibility. I know in Hawaii when they passed medicinal marijuana, the sheriff was sending out letters to all the concealed carry holders. Basically, they were cross-referencing the two. So I've not heard of that in Ohio. It's not been on the radar. It's not been mentioned. I do note that one of your viewers had mentioned something about active alcoholics. It's actually not what the law says. Ohio's got a weird law that says if you're a chronic alcoholic, you cannot possess guns. Chronic alcoholism is not in the DSM. It's not a defined medical term, so it's just kind of made up out of thin air. We really don't know what it means.
Kind of like an assault weapon.
Yeah, right, exactly.
If you're driving around with a yellow license plate, there's a chance
that's a clue.
What do they call those? Party plates.
Party
plates.
Yeah.
Yep.
I never thought anybody would ever be charged with that, but I had a client years ago that came to my office, and I told him, get right in. We'll file a lawsuit against the arresting agency. They can't take your guns for being a quote-unquote chronic alcoholic, and he showed up to my office drunk. So, I told him,
is that a no-go?
I did not represent him.
There you go.
Well, let's get to a caller here. It looks like Richard, you're on. You're on with OnTarget. How are you?
All right. Yeah, I just had a question, especially since you're a police officer. In that Dayton shooting, the police were right on the scene. In the El Paso shooting, they were within 4 minutes. If you had a concealed weapon, and especially when they were looking for, you tried to fire at the shooting, especially when they're looking for maybe a second gunman. What would your opinion be? What should a person do?
You know what, Rich? It's a great question, and it's something that we talk about all the time in our concealed carry class. You have to, if you're a concealed carry holder, you have to think this through. And what we say all along is when that call goes out to law enforcement that there's an active shooter or a person with a firearm, we don't, the information that comes across isn't always accurate, as you can imagine. And so when we show up on the scene, anyone who has a firearm at that point, we have to assume that they are a potential threat. So what we tell people is that if you're with your family and something were to happen, make sure your family knows that, hey, you know, my dad is a concealed carry holder and he is wearing jeans and this and a hat. Or help us, give us some description so when we arrive on the scene. The other thing that's extremely important is that even though it is going to be one of the most stressful situations you'll ever be in, you have to know that you got to comply when the officer arrives on the scene. So there's too many cases, what we call blue on blue shootings even, where an officer is on the scene of, you know, of something and he's off duty and he's trying to get out that, hey, I got the bad guy at gunpoint, and the officers arrive on the scene not knowing this officer, and there's a friendly fire incident. It happens.
Well, having your CCW does not require that you react or you respond to an active shooter. Is there for your protection, for if you fear for your life or your family's life, you don't take the initiative unless you absolutely have to. I mean, law enforcement, we are required to do something. But if you're a citizen with your CCW, sometimes it's better just to be a good witness and just not try to intervene.
Because, you know, Dad, we've talked about this many times. I mean, we've recognized, even in law enforcement, how many times over 40 years of carrying a gun off duty have you pulled that gun out?
I don't think I've ever ever had to pull it out when I was off duty. Now, there was a few times where things got a little anxious and everything, but otherwise I use common sense.
Because you recognize that it sometimes it could elevate. I mean,
could
you know,
certainly elevate it.
So I mean, you know,
you just have to be careful. And if anything, we were talking about the training for CCW, you know, when we were off the air, and if anything, you can't go out there with the mindset that you're going to be a partner with law enforcement.
Right. You're not a junior G-man, as I tell my class.
But Richard, I mean, kudos to you for having that thought, and that's something that we discuss quite a bit in the CCW class, JC.
Well, we do. We talk about it quite a bit, and I just tell people, hey, if you don't know the circumstances, you can only use it to defend yourself or someone that you know, and you have to meet the 3 criteria, and even trying to leave, et cetera, et cetera. But the crux of the matter is I tell them, draw quickly your cell phone, take a video, take a picture, be a good witness, and get out of the way. That's that, you know. So if your life's in danger, your family, then situation changes. But when someone arrives at the scene, I even tell them, you put your gun down, you sit there, because they probably think that you're part of the problem, not part of the solution.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And, that's how they're going to treat you.
Right. If you want to jump in on the conversation, 614-821-9886 is the number. We have Derek DeBrosse on with us. He's with Munitions Law Group and knows a lot about firearms law. It's a good time to call in and ask some questions. So, Derek, you know, we get a lot of CCW-related questions in the class and just in the store and stuff. Let's say you're a law-abiding citizen and you have your CCW and you happen to go out for a beer after work. So you find yourself, you've had 1 beer or 2 beer, and you have your gun in your car. What's the best scenario?
Not go have a drink.
There you go.
I get that question all the time. You cannot sit here and present to me a scenario where you have to have alcohol. That's the answer. I'm not going to give you any other answers because that's the answer.
Right. So you're saying is what we always say. There's a responsibility for being a concealed carry holder.
Yeah.
And if that means leaving the firearm at the place of employment,
drinking water at the bar.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah, you don't need the alcohol.
There you go.
It's not required.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
You're looking at a felony if you get caught.
Yeah. Right. It's not worth it to lose, you know, your rights of a CCW holder.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
agree. Yep.
Even if you're not, you know, over the limit or anything, just under the influence.
Yeah, if it's a work thing, just drink water. Just tell your boss you're going for a run that night. You can't have alcohol or something. You know, you don't have.
I was just thinking, you know, you don't have to have alcohol. What about alcoholics?
Well,
Come on.
That's a longer discussion for another day.
Okay, I mean, that's just kind of
might need an intervention, especially if you're carrying guns in your house.
Okay,
that
all
would be
right,
a bad mix.
So it's good. I mean, it goes to the point that there is a responsibility.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I have not been presented one scenario yet where unless you're like someone's forcing alcohol down your throat, I don't see a scenario where you ever have to have alcohol.
Well, that happens to me a lot, Eric.
You changed me. What I did, I remember I told you, I said, what I do if something would come up, I'd go out, I'd strip my gun down, throw parts everywhere, unload the magazine, everything.
Make it
you
as
said,
difficult as you can.
But you said, hey, what is registered as a firearm?
Right.
It is the frame. It is the frame. Right. And if there wasn't anything onto it legally, that is what's registered as a firearm. So I said, what do I do? And just order a gin and tonic, hold the gin.
Yeah.
So a little tonic and lime, and there I am.
Well,
so
just so you strip down your firearm and nothing else.
Nothing else.
I can throw you for a loop a little bit. What if you're Catholic and you go to church and you're drinking the wine at communion?
Mm-hmm.
My argument that it's not wine, it's the blood of Christ.
Right.
So you can have it. Plus, you have a First Amendment right to religion.
That's going to be about another 2-3 hour discussion.
Wait a second, I'm seeing it. You go to the bar, you order a glass of blood of Christ.
That's right.
It's your religion.
There you go.
There you go.
And I want some. Some blood of Jack Daniels.
No, but then you have to have a priest there to turn that into the blood of Christ.
All right.
Or you can start your own religion called God and Guns, right? And then you have to drink and have guns. It's part of your religion, right? First Amendment argument.
There you go. So yeah.
I'm kidding, by the way.
The sky's the limit.
Yeah. Munitions Law Group.
That's right.
So, Derek, reciprocity is another question we get quite a bit. You have your CCW, you find yourself traveling to another state. We always tell people the best thing to do is go out to the Ohio Attorney General's website. Mm-hmm. That is the final say. It's not. There's a lot of sites that try to consolidate it all, but you're putting your livelihood in the hands of someone else that they have that updated. Is that what you say too? I mean, go out there.
Yeah, if you're traveling until we have national reciprocity. If we have national reciprocity, I don't think you'll see it under this administration. But until and if that happens, the thing you're advising your customers the way I've always advised my clients. If you go to the Ohio Attorney General's website, they have printed off or they have downloaded on the website the reciprocity agreements. They're contracts.
The actual agreements, right?
Yeah, I actually, if I'm going down to Virginia, I'll print off the Virginia one and have the Ohio one, and then if there's ever any issue at the stop, I can produce it. It's not required. But, when in Rome, you have to do as the Romans do. And I don't know what Virginia requires under their laws.
Right.
So you need to educate yourself, print off that agreement, and travel.
You're absolutely right. And that's exactly, and we probably got it from you. So,
and the agreement is not the law. I mean, the law is the law when you're there, and it can vary wildly.
Yeah, Virginia might not be able to carry it into a restaurant, but in Ohio you can. You don't know.
So let's talk about that for a second, Derek, because we get this question a lot. You're out with your family, you're at the mall. You're a concealed carry holder, and your wife wants to go into a restaurant or to a store, and all of a sudden you see the dreaded sign out there, no gun zones. Mm-hmm. And you see the criminals going back to their cars to put them in.
Right.
Yeah. That's how it is, right?
Yeah.
No guns.
That's what you won't see.
Yeah.
What happens if you go in there? What happens? What is your risk?
Well, so if it's a private establishment other than a daycare, it's a 4th degree trespass. So 30 days maximum time in jail. I think $150 fine, you'll lose the gun probably. You probably won't do any time in jail unless you have a record. If it's a daycare, it's actually aggravated trespass if you violate a sign. And that's relatively new, about 2 years old. You used to not be able to carry daycares at all, but now you can unless they post a sign. And it's a 1st-degree misdemeanor, punishable up to 6 months in jail.
In reality, if you go in and let's say you inadvertently, the firearm is seen, and they say, "Hey, you need to leave." At that, I mean, is that typically? I mean, that's typically what's gonna.
That's normally what happens. I've never actually been retained for a trespass of the sign case. I had one consult once, and he just couldn't afford to hire us. But yeah, it's very infrequent. You're right, and they'll normally ask you to leave. If they don't have a sign, they ask you to leave. You still have to leave. Right, because it's private property and it's still trespass. So you can't say, oh, they don't have a sign, I can be here. No, they've asked you to leave, you got to leave.
Right.
Period.
So, I mean, at one point, I was under the impression that this was more of a civil matter if you didn't do it. But you can.
It was criminal, and then they made it civil.
Well, that was parking lot. That was parking lots. No, it's still criminal for the actual facilities. Like if I violate a sign on Target's door, and it's conspicuously located, and I violate that sign, that's a crime. It's a 4th-degree misdemeanor.
Right.
Yeah.
What's your defense as far as not seeing? I mean, are you obligated to go looking for these signs?
Well, you would have to argue that it wasn't conspicuously posted, which the revised code does not define. It doesn't even say it hasn't been the front door. So it doesn't mean conspicuously posted. We assume that means the front door.
Right. I always walk in the stores backwards, so I wouldn't see it. So, I mean, it's just.
What if you're blind?
There you go.
Yeah, that's an interesting question too.
I have. If you're a police officer, there's some agencies that require that you carry your firearm 24/7, right? And so, how can you ever go shopping if you're off duty and you're complying?
Well, I think law enforcement supersedes
does it though?
It does. I believe it
Yeah,
does.
there's laws that deal with law enforcement. I don't know the exact citation off the top of my head, but you guys fall under a different purview of the revised code. But if you're carrying as a civilian, then the laws would apply to you. Yeah, that'd be a little different.
Yeah, so it is tricky. I mean, it is best to know. You need to know what you're getting into in case something were to happen, because that's the, that's where you don't want to find yourself. You don't want to find yourself in a situation.
Yeah, what'll probably happen? You walk into Target, they see you printing, they call the cops without approaching you first. Cops will come, they'll have their guns drawn probably. They'll probably detain you for a short time, and you'll be released that same day. But they'll take the gun, and then you'll be charged with a 4th-degree misdemeanor. That's probably what's going to happen.
I'd be curious to see in Ohio how many of these charges. I mean, does it happen?
I've not very frequently.
Yeah.
I have never defended anybody for that.
Right.
I've been consulted once that I can recall in my 11 years of practice.
So I'd be curious to see. That might be a good number to pull, JC. Just out of curiosity, I don't know.
Well, theoretically, you're not going to get charged because it's concealed.
It's concealed.
Right, exactly.
Unless you're pulling it to defend somebody's life, it shouldn't be seen.
Right.
Not that I'm encouraging anybody to violate the law, but that's why you're probably not seeing the charges, because no one's ever getting caught.
Right. That is a good point. So, you know what? Let's go into break. When we come back, I want to talk about transportation of firearms in your vehicle and open carry. That's something we get a lot. It's something that there's definitely some cons about, but it's worth talking about. We're on Target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. We'll be right back after the break.
Yesterday.
Just yesterday, the stunning developments.
Today.
Catastrophic event.
Right now.
Happening right now. It was just reported.
Tomorrow.
It's actually the future. It hasn't happened yet.
But when it does happen.
Today.
Right now.
Tomorrow.
We'll be here.
Every day.
It's news. It's all the news.
News Radio 610. WTVN.
Hi, I'm Rick Germain, and we're celebrating the season of Discovery sales
How are we,
at
Em?
Germain Mazda. Lease the 2019
What's
Mazda
temp there?
CX-3 for just $204 a month. Get started at Germain.
Can't believe we don't got more people calling. We got more people calling last week.
Down, plus tax, title, license, and dock fees with approved credit ends 9/3/19.
Peak Performance for Men can help you get your intimacy back today.
All right. I'm going to call into open phones one of these days.
Are caused by a lack of appropriate blood flow. Peak Performance for Men can help
Lord,
you
it can't be any
today
worse than
with
what you
focused laser
get.
compression
That's
therapy
true.
with no
That's
drugs,
true.
no
Holy
surgery,
Moses.
no needles, and no
It makes me
pain.
nervous
Get
what
your
you-
intimacy back.
you would
Call
say
Peak
to
Performance at 614-739-8181.
leave me on the comment.
That's 614-739-8181 to schedule your consultation. Peak
That's
Performance for
entertainment.
Men, helping
Yeah,
all
so I
men
think
with
you're gonna
ED
do
in
that.
Central
I was gonna
Ohio
say one call
reignite
back.
their sex life
I
and
can
get their
hear.
confidence
Okay.
back.
This is Brad Koffel with the Koffel Law
I
Firm
know you
and
do.
WTVN Legal Analyst. Join me on Sunday mornings at 11 a.m., my show, For the Defense. The Koffel Law Firm is a group of moms and dads who represent moms, dads, or their kids when the police come knocking. Sunday mornings, 11 a.m., For the Defense.
Your ABC6 first warning weather for today. Lots of sunshine, dry and pleasant. It is beautiful out there. High of 79 for tonight. Clear and chilly. Great night to open up the windows. Low of 58 for Sunday. Mostly sunny and warmer. High of 82. It is still a beautiful 74 degrees on your severe weather station. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Get up to speed Monday morning. The Joel Riley Show. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Every morning there's a halo hanging from the corner of my girlfriend's four-post bed.
Welcome back to On Target. Papa, who sings that?
Neil Diamond.
Sugar Ray. I set you up earlier in the show. I can only do
Eric,
so much.
You know that goes over my head. You know,
I mean, you can jot it down. You got a pen, don't you?
Not with me right now. Well, yeah, I'm brief. Oh, here comes my puppy
I mean,
dog.
we call that a clue. Like, oh, he's talking about Sugar. I bet you there's going to be a Sugar Ray song. You know?
I'll be darned.
Yeah, actually, we saw him live last night. Very, very nice guy.
Really?
Yeah, it was a neat concert over at the zoo. They did a great, great job over there. We're on Target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LEPD Firearms and Range. And I am here today with my father, co-owner Phil. He sits to my left, JC to my right. And my immediate left is my good friend, Derek DeBrosse from Munitions Law Group. We're talking everything firearms related. If you have a question, 614-821-9886 is the number. Derek, when we were going into break, we were talking a little bit about open carry. It's something that is our legal right. It is your legal right to go and open carry. But is it the right thing to do?
Yeah. Why would you?
That's a big question. I fully support open carry. I personally don't do it. From a tactical level, I decided that I didn't think it was a appropriate behavior to engage in for self-defense purposes. So from that perspective, solely, it's not something I personally would do, but I would never judge somebody else for doing it. It is a legal right in Ohio. There was a case, Klein versus Lease, early 2000s maybe, that came out that said concealed carry is not a right, it's a privilege. Therefore, the only way you can exercise our version of the Second Amendment is to openly carry, and that's
right.
Attorney General takes that position. It's clear as day. I've defended people on this before.
Right, and it is the right. My standpoint personally, just like you said, Derek, it's not very tactically sound. I mean, I don't, part of concealed carry in law enforcement or in a civilian concealed carry capacity is the bad guy does not see your firearm. Right. He doesn't know who in this crowd has the firearm. And if you're carrying it open, I know that guy is the one I'm, going to be concerned about. So
I've heard it say before that we want to, disincentivize them if they know we have a gun. That's just naive because you don't understand the criminal mindset. Criminal's going to take that gun. They're going to want that gun. It's a badge of honor for them
and
to take
it. And it's not just a criminal. It's anybody with a cell phone. You see somebody in this day and age walking down the street, especially in a urban environment, and they see somebody with a gun. I guarantee you, someone's going to pick up the phone. So if you have lots of time on your hand to stop and talk to police officers, there you go.
And JC, you're absolutely right. I mean, we are obligated to call. I mean, if the call comes in, there's a person with the firearm.
Well,
we have to go.
The police can't detain them. There was actually a case out of the 6th Circuit in Toledo that talked about that. The guy was actually detained, and the court said, no, you can't do that. There's got to be some sort of overt action included that would give you guys as police officers reasonable suspicion. Like if he's casing a joint, walking back and forth in front of a bank with a gun on his hip. There's enough to articulate now to perform that
Right.
detention.
But you're going to get attention. You're going to get something there. So it's just
the police can stop and talk to you.
Right.
But you don't have to stop for them unless you're doing something illegal.
Right. So transportation, we get this question a lot. With the CCW, it's pretty cut and dry. I mean, you can have it concealed, and it has gotten a lot better.
We were talking earlier, the laws have changed dramatically over the years. It was very, very complicated for car carry when the law first passed. But you're right. You can conceal a handgun only because we only have a CHL in Ohio, not a CCW. It only applies to handguns in your car. Anyway, you could do it outside the car. Right. You can throw it on your seat, put it in your holster, however you want to do it.
So here's where it gets tricky. You're out exercising your right to open carry. Now it's time to jump back in your car to go home.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have that on your person, correct?
Openly exposed? I don't have a black and white answer for you. I don't know if there's a case on point. You could argue that the car is concealing it. Yeah. And just because you have a concealed carry license doesn't mean you can't open carry.
Right, but if you don't have a concealed carry license, the transportation,
yes, that's correct. Yeah. Right, so to carry a handgun in a car without a concealed handgun license is much more cumbersome.
Right.
It's got to be unloaded. The ammunition, if it's in a magazine, has got to be in complete and separate enclosure, like a range bag with a separate pocket on it. It's much more complicated.
Right.
And you're supposed to have to get out of the car and have to exit the car in order to get to it.
That's one way to carry amongst others. You can keep the gun in a compartment only accessible by leaving the vehicle, which doesn't really exist anymore nowadays because in most cars you can put it on the back seat and get into the trunk.
Right. We had actually a caller who I think dropped off who had a question about background checks. We're going to actually start touching on that next week. Actually, next week we have a guest that we're not quite ready to announce, but it will definitely be worth listening to if everything comes out on that. So that's definitely going to be talked about next week. Derek, we're at the end here. Tell everyone how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, it's munitionsgroup.com. You can also look up Munitions Law Group on YouTube. We have a pretty active following there where I try to answer all these questions
and you know
as often as I can.
It's wonderful. I mean, it's a wonderful place to go out there. People send you questions or email you questions?
Send, email, call, just drop it. I never promise when I'm going to get to the questions, but I put them in the queue and try to answer them as I can.
And you still have all of those YouTube videos.
Yeah, they're still
out there. I mean, you have like 125 free legal advice for Ohioans. I'm telling my class, everyone, I said, get on there and look at these. You can get a lot of short, 3 to 5 5 minutes.
Yeah,
or not
very long.
Yeah, and they're just right to the point. And I
Yeah.
thank you for that. That's
Oh,
kind
you're
of like
welcome.
pro bono work for
Yeah.
all of our citizens. So
I
thank
like to go in there and see the progression of the beard.
Oh,
So when,
yeah, well,
when
me
you go
too,
back to
yeah,
the old
that's,
ones, he looks like a little baby face, and then it
yeah.
goes and looks like Grandpa now giving the bites. And so, yeah.
Funny.
So, hey, thank you so much for jumping
Oh,
on.
you're
I mean,
welcome.
it's always good to hear from you, and always good to hear these things firsthand. I think we all learn stuff every time. And
we have to change our slide here.
there
So,
you go.
There you go.
So and next week it will be a guest that's definitely going to be worth listening for. Thanks for spending the last hour with us. Jump on YouTube. You can see the podcast of the show as on Facebook, and then the actual audio podcast is on iTunes, Google Podcast, and on iHeartRadio. Have a good week.
All right. Have a great one.
From the Elk and Elk Studios, veterans with hearing problems from defective 3M earplugs. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. News Radio 610, WTVN.
Welcome to Zip Hole USA, Israel Edition.
Emily.
Hello.
Have I told you how good it is to have you back?
No, I love hearing it.
Good to have you back.
I love hearing it. I'm happy to be back.
Yep. Cool.
I am very anxious for the stories we have to talk about when I come in.
Well, wait. Stand by 1 second here. Hold on.